I wanted to find out why the attack on Jared Kushner. You know, I mentioned last hour, CNN can't not let go of this. CNN is acting like they have just scored a major win in this all-out effort to stop Trump, because the chief of staff, John Kelly, has reduced Jared Kushner's security clearance. Now, he didn't have the highest clearance, but he had a fairly good high clearance. He was able to see top secret, I think one level above. But now he's been chopped down to size, and the only security clearance he has is up for secret documents. And CNN's acting like this is the greatest day that they've had yet. I mean, they're celebrating this. I said, why? What's the big deal here? Jared Kushner's not that, his son-in-law and so forth. So I decided, ladies and gentlemen, during the break to do some digging. And I found what might be some reasons for this in the Washington Post. 5 reporters on this story about Jared Kushner and what he's doing for Trump in the area of foreign policy. The headline, Kushner's overseas contacts raise concerns as foreign officials seek leverage. Officials in at least 4 countries have privately discussed ways they can manipulate Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, by taking advantage of his own complex business arrangements, financial difficulties, and his lack of foreign policy experience, according to current and former U.S. officials familiar with intelligence reports on the matter. A copy and paste sentence. According to current and former officials familiar with, who cannot speak because they are not authorized to do so. So we don't know who the sources are again. Among those nations discussing ways to influence Kushner to the disadvantage of the United States, the United Arab Emirates, the Chicoms, Israel, and Mexico, according to the current and former unnamed anonymous sources. It is unclear, writes the Washington Post, if any of those countries actually acted on any of this, meaning there's really no need for us to write this story, because we don't know that anything has really ever happened. We don't know that these countries have ever really tried to leverage Jared Kushner. We are just told by 4 or 5 people from the deep state that they could. But we don't know that it's happened. But since it could happen, and it's really bad if it does happen, we're going to write it as though it will happen, and it's got to stop. It is unclear if any of those countries acted on the discussions, but Kushner's contacts with certain foreign government officials have raised concerns inside the White House and are a reason he's been unable to obtain a permanent security clearance, the officials said. So we are to conclude here that the one adult in the White House, the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, thinks that Kushner is a kid out of his league, doesn't know what he's doing, is a lucky sperm club member, has got his dad money and businesses in the media and real estate, and this guy's running around making deals with foreign countries in the Middle East, and we can't have this. That's the story. Yes, it's the White House, the Trump White House that's decided Jared here doesn't know what he's doing enough to get a top secret clearance. Within the White House, Kushner's lack of government experience and his business debt were seen from the beginning of his tenure as potential points of leverage that foreign governments could use to influence him, the current and former officials said. So Jared's obviously working on something, and it might be something that might be on the verge of succeeding. Can't have that, folks. Trump cannot succeed. When it can be stopped, it must. So we have a story with every bit as much leaking as there has been on the Russian collusion story, now on Jared Kushner, about the White House thinks he's such a grave threat, and he's so exposed to blackmail that the White House had to cut his security clearance so he only can see secret stuff, meaning he can't see the real top secret stuff so that our enemies can't torture it out of him. Blah, 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 blah. No evidence, no named sources, no nothing, but 5 reporters. Here, look at this. Just to give you an idea. Remember when George W. Bush's approval number descended to the 30s and Wolf Blitzer did a breaking news announcement every 10 minutes of it? I'm Wolf Blitzer at CNN. Breaking news. Breaking news. It's 1 o'clock in the East Coast. It's 4 o'clock in the West Coast. And it's 9 o'clock in Riyadh. And George Bush's approval numbers are at 38%. I'm Wolf Blitzer. It's 2 o'clock Eastern. It's 5 o'clock in London. Wherever else. George Bush is in a tank. Remember that? Well, they're doing it again with Jared Kushner and his security clearance. Here is an example.
Hello, I'm Wolf Blitzer. It's 1 p.m. here in Washington. Wherever you're watching from around the world, thanks very much for joining us. A set of bombshells rocking the White House. Just the past 24 hours, the president's son-in-law stripped from seeing America's top secrets as other countries look to exploit him.
Man, you see? So Jared was running around and he had too much clearance. I mean, he was exposed to too many secrets. And because the guy is whatever he is, it makes him ripe for leverage and blackmail. And so somebody in the White House decided that Jared had, and they can't blame it on Bannon because Bannon isn't there anymore. So they're blaming it on John Kelly, the adult in the White House. You know, I don't know much at all about this whole security clearance system. But I'll bet you people have their clearances changed frequently. And I'll bet you sometimes it's done publicly like this just to get people to leave other people alone. I mean, they're making so much out of this, it's just typically lost their minds at CNN.